everybody. Welcome back to Fan Mail, where I answer questions and display submissions from you, the community. Before we get started, just a few things. First, a reminder that you can track the progress of Hyborian using my Discord. There's a channel devoted to current project statuses there. A link to my Discord is in the video description. Body acting for Hyborian is currently ongoing, so if you're interested in helping, join my Discord and let me know. And finally, this video will contain spoilers for Brotherhood War and Mass Effect. Time to get to the fan mail. Joining us today, by a fan's request, is Commander Braxton from the Spartan Legacy.
Officer on deck.
Thanks for being here, Braxton.
A pleasure, Chronicler. I'm ready to answer some questions.
Let's get right to it then. Today's first submission is from Major Winners. Hello there. 2 questions, one for each of you. Braxton, did anything change in the UNSC Navy post-Covenant War? Technology, doctrine, etc., or did it mostly remain the same? For Kron, name your top 3 characters from the Mass Effect trilogy. Doesn't need to only be squad members, could be any character in the series. Thanks for answering, and I hope you both have a fan-diddly-do-tastic day.
For the first 5 years after the Human Covenant War, there really wasn't much advancement, as we were locked in a standoff with Shipmaster Kotomi. After his defeat, though, we started to recover, and with all the fresh access we had to alien tech, there was certainly some advancement in technology. The old Halcyon-class cruisers were finally completely phased out in favor of the Marathon class, which received several upgrades. Take my ship, the Flying Forward, for example. As a standard Marathon-class refit, the Flying Forward gained prototype outer hull plating based on the nanolaminate used on Covenant ships. This increased hull hardness by 30% and increased resistance to plasma weaponry. Unfortunately, we never quite locked down the ability to mass-produce ship-size energy shield generators. The ones we did create were delegated to special cases, like the Infinity Project. Her MAC gun was given a boost as well, increasing kinetic damage potential without the need to lengthen the coil system. As far as doctrine goes, not much was changed. Until the fleet was fully rebuilt, the Navy was much more sparing when assigning forces, though. The biggest change was the addition of supplementary Spartan teams to standard ship complements. We were told it was to ensure the Spartans could be deployed whenever and wherever they were needed at a moment's notice. But it's obvious now they were put there to take over the ship at the right time.
Mass Effect is one of my favorite games, and I love it primarily for its characters. Picking 3 favorites is a really hard choice, but I'd have to go with Mordin, Garrus, and Jack. Of course, that leaves me feeling like it's a crime not to include Legion, Rex, Grunt, Joker, Javik, EDI.
What?
I just realized that my love interest, Liara, isn't even on this list.
That's telling.
Well, I'd so totally romance Jack because she's such a more interesting character, but the relationship gets totally shafted in the 3rd game. She's not even there at the end. Gah!
I guess. I'm more of a Tali guy myself.
You've played Mass Effect?
Of course. The original trilogy is timeless. The Super Deluxe Ultimate Legendary Anniversary Edition was released around the time of the Third War. I had time to do, 3 playthroughs.
Interesting. Our next submission comes from Sparkles1313.
Hi, Kron. I was wondering, were Catherine and Hadley designed to be opposites of each other? Because while she is quiet and reserved, he is bombastic and arrogant. While she is calm, he often seems to let his temper get the better of him. But they both seem to play the same role in their teams, sniper plus supporting fire. Was this an intentional contrast? How did Garrett survive after being left to the Covenant? And how did he then meet up with the Radical Reformation? Was Garrett a founding member of the Reformation, or was he a recruit? And what was he doing in the many years that passed between his being portrayed and his joining the Reformation? And what was he doing in the many years that passed between his being betrayed and his joining the Reformation?
Yeah, Hadley was designed to be an inversion of Catherine's character. I'd done the quiet, collected sniper type a few times by then, I think, so I designed a sniper who was chatty, arrogant, impulsive, and we got Hadley. As for Garrett, he used his skills as a Spartan to escape the Covenant and survive until the war ended. Sometime after then, he met Nyla Asaka, and the two formed the Radical Reformation, with the long-game idea of taking down the UNSC. He was responsible for arming and training most of the reformists when it came time to build an army. He always held on to that sword he picked up, eventually adding a basket hilt and coloring the plasma green. Here we have a question from the Sussy One. I recently unlocked the Decimator set in Halo 5. Given its resemblance to the Mark V-B, the default helmet in Reach, do you think this would have looked better on Zack/emulated as Reach look more than Recruit proven? You're absolutely right. The Decimator armor is extremely similar to Zack's original suit, and on paper that is the best choice for it. However, there's a few things to take note of here. First, Zack's new suit post The Last War is meant to be a prototype of the Mark 8 line that would later be used by the Spartan 5s. The prototype suit is a sign of the changing times in the Spartan Legacy universe, alongside designs like the BR-85. It showcases how the UNSC is developing new tech and moving forward, and time itself is advancing, so it makes sense for Zack to have a new suit going forward. Second, Decimator wasn't available for Zack's appearance in Lifebringer. I could have switched him to Decimator once we transitioned to Halo 5, but by that point his new appearance was established, and I didn't want to potentially confuse viewers by changing it again. Besides, I feel like going back to an outdated look we've already moved past would be regressive. Obi-Wan DS has a question for you, Braxton.
Okay.
To Captain Braxton of the UNSC Flying Forward. While serving under Captain Gray during his captaincy of the Heart of Defiant, were there any moments or pieces of advice given that helped shape how you commanded the Flying Forward?
Commander Gray was a man of duty, no doubt about it. I remember there was a time, shortly after I was assigned to his command crew, when I was having a bit of an emotional crisis. This was around midway through the Second War. I was so young then. Things were bad. Kotomi was wreaking havoc on Earth. People were dying. I was kind of freaking out about it. Gray had to have noticed. He found me in my cabin. I was nervous. I thought he was going to discipline me, but he sat down beside me. "Braxton," he said, "you can't forget what we're fighting for. Who we're fighting for. Those people down there are counting on us. We can't let fear hold us back." And he was right. Because we were brave, we saved, well, pretty much everyone, everywhere. I held on to that advice, especially after he passed and I took command of the Heart of Defiance, battling in the Antioch skirmishes, and later aboard the Flying Forward during the Reformist War. I led my crew the same way he led me, fearless and dedicated. We did everything we could. I know he'd be proud.
Here's a question from SDev Dude.
Hey, Kron, what do you think of the new armor sets in Season 8 at MCC? Also, do you think the Flood can make it Halo Infinite?
I was skeptical about the armors at first, but I've come around to them. Ascend Hyperion has a great video about them, linked below. I really like Blackguard. I just wish it was in Halo 5 so I could wear it during fan mail. And since Halo Infinite is rated T, I'm pretty sure the Flood won't be in Infinite, at least not at launch. Would it be nice if they added them later? Yeah. Will they? I don't know. Flamehog419 asks,
Hi, Chronicler177. Out of curiosity, is there any plans regarding the Elites while the Lifebringer is holding Earth hostage? Possibly some of Elites from the Reach trilogy.
You know, in really early story drafts of Brotherhood War, I had planned to at least showcase the Separatists, including Solek. But then, of course, Halo 5 also didn't have playable elites like Halo 4, and now Infinite won't have them either, so it's not looking like they'll come back. A personal note about this to the devs, straight up fuck you 343 for not including playable elites in 4, 5, and Infinite. There's zero actual reason for things to be like this. You know we want it. There's a thread on Halo Waypoint about this from 2012 with 961 pages, updated almost daily. If you want to absolutely have to look at it from a money-making standpoint, just consider that that's even more armor perms that you can include in your fucking battle pass, giving more people incentive to play/buy. Just fucking do it. We know you can do it. You did it for Halo 2 Anniversary. Just give us playable elites somewhere down the line in Infinite. Stop fucking around. Just do it. Stop making my job harder.
You know, all this raging will get you nowhere, right?
I know, I'm screaming into a fucking void, but it's my right to scream. There's a question for Braxton from OddKnight712.
To Braxton, what were your activities during tour free time?
Well, like I mentioned, Mass Effect. But I was also a bit of a ship buff. I guess that makes sense as a ship's commander. I liked reading manuals and magazines all about ships and specs. Hard copies too, not digital. I had a little reading nook set up in my cabin on the Flying Forward. Other than that, I like to practice my shooting at the onboard range. I was a good shot, too. Not that it mattered much against the Spartans.
Cannonbolt has a submission for us. There's the dream team. I always like seeing them together outside the confines of Machinima animation. Got a question from Spartan142.
Dear Chronicler 177, what is your favorite part of making the awesome machinimas you make? Also, what is your favorite machinima/machinima maker, and do you have any tips for making a machinima that will attract some viewers and manage to be interesting and enjoyable to watch?
I have no idea how to attract viewers. My views are pretty stagnant, and anytime one of my videos goes beyond a few thousand, it's completely by accident. Just make the best production you can, upload it, and pray. My favorite part of machinimating is probably the editing. I really like seeing everything come together. Also, I tend to teach myself and practice using new editing tricks here and there. I always enjoy coming up with new techniques I can use. My favorite machinima and its creator is currently Halo Butt Buddies by the great Isaiah, but of course I'm biased. Halo Slayer 99 has a question.
Dear Chronicler, what is/was the best series you liked making and have put lots and lots of time into? Thank you and have a good day.
I think I've enjoyed Brotherhood Wars production the most so far. I had a really great cast and crew with it, most of whom have transferred onto Hyborian. Plus, it was fairly smooth and ended up really well. It definitely took a lot of time. Similar to Hyborian, set building took 6 or 7 months, plus around 16 weeks of body acting, not to mention writing, editing, and post. But it was all 100% worth it. Justin DG asks,
I used to watch a lot of your older updates videos, and I remember hearing mention of a Star Wars fan novel series you were working on. Now, granted, this was quite a while ago, so my memory not be 100% correct. So if that wasn't you, could you let us know what other storytelling mediums you've used that are non-machinima related?
yeah, I never did finish that Star Wars trilogy, or the Bionicle book I started, or the Pokemon book I'd planned. Books are hard, especially when you already are working in another medium and you're pretty sure no one's going to read your book when you're done writing it anyway. The exception would be the Spartan Field Guide and the upcoming Hyborian Complete Visual Guide I'm making, but those are machinima adjacent. That's really it. These days I stick to machinima. No point in dabbling in anything else. Ty has a few questions.
For Kron, you've hosted Pokemon tournaments in the past, so I gotta know, if you were a gym leader, what type would you use? What region? You can make up your own gym instead of one from a game. And what team? You could throw in what badge trainers would receive.
Remember how I just mentioned that Pokemon book? Well, it was going to take place in the Coyote region of my own making. It had its own gym lineup and everything. If I were a leader, I'd be torn between specializing in bug type or steel type. Let's say steel type then. Team composition would be Magnezone, Steelix, Fortress, Klefki, a Registeel, and Mega Metagross as the ace. My badge would be the Armor badge. More Pokemon questions from Silver.
Hey, Kron, I got a couple of questions to ask you, and one for Braxton. Aside from Beedrill, is there any other Pokemon that's your favorite, and why? What is your favorite Pokemon game of all time, and what is special about it? To Braxton, what is the proudest moment of your career, and why is it important to you? Hope you both have an amazing day, and keep on making great machinimas. P.S. Watch out, Joey is right behind you!
Who is Joey?
No one you need to be concerned with. Silver, my second favorite Pokemon is Metagross. He's got like 4 brains and he's built like a tank. He can fly and smash stuff, and his shiny even matches my colors. He's so cool. I hate that his Mega is banned from my tournaments. My favorite Pokemon game is Black. Personally, I think it has the best narrative and characters of the franchise, and no game has ever quite returned to that. Honestly, I've fallen out of love with Pokemon games recently. Sword and Shield burned me pretty hard. I'd love to see more games like Black in the future. It'd definitely be a return to form.
Without a doubt, my proudest moment would be when we stopped Kotomi from firing Omega Halo. You don't just save the entire galaxy and be like, yep, just a normal Friday, nothing special, nothing to see here. Move right along, sir. Well, maybe Master Chief did, but I didn't know the guy.
Now a question from Wolfie.
For Kron, quick question. Which one out of Brotherhood War and Brotherhood War Aftermath was the most stressful one to make? And what was your favorite scene you did? Actually, just realized that wasn't really a quick question, but just curious. Wolf.
Brotherhood War was easily more stressful to make than Aftermath. Aftermath had a grand total of 2 action scenes, one of which was filmed in Firefight sometime before Brotherhood War was even finished, and less than half the runtime of Brotherhood War. I got to shoot the whole thing without using theater. The cast was smaller, body acting was done in like 6 weeks, and there is maybe 15 to 20% of the amount of sets that Brotherhood War needed. Hard to pick a favorite individual scene, but the convoy in the desert scene was a lot of fun. Here's a quick question from NY Optimus Prime.
Hey, Chronicler, did you name Fireteam Corsair after the World War II American naval fighter? I actually have a model of the plane. From the Michigander, NY Optimus Prime.
I was actually going for the original meaning. Corsair means pirate. Fireteam Corsair primarily conducts joint Black Ops missions with the UNSC Navy, so they're kind of like pirates. Really, it just sounded cool.
Actual Scott quote.
Arr, ODSTs, we be dropping into Davy Jones' locker. Yar.
Yeah, whatever. Rule of cool dominates all. We've got a submission from Molten Bread. Hi, Chronicler. I have an idea for a series that is world history retold with Halo Machinima. How do I take the steps to make it more than an idea in the back of my mind? Also, who is your favorite Red vs. Blue character? Hope you have a fantastic day. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is write out a basic plan for the production. Outline your beginning, rising action, climax, falling action, and ending. Once you got that down, you can write your script. Always finish your script before moving on in production. Then comes the hard part, the machinimating itself. Set building, puppeteering. Getting body actors is usually the biggest roadblock any director encounters. Start small. Write scenes you can do with 2 or 3 actors or so. Capture your footage with a proper capture card like an Elgato. You don't want to be just recording the screen of your TV. Don't forget voice acting. Acquiring voice actors can be a challenge. Acquiring good voice actors even more so. Luckily, audio recording software is free. Audacity does very well. I've been using it for a decade now. Good quality recording mics are another thing though. Expect to shell out at least $100 for one, and best hope your chosen voice actors have at least passable quality mics themselves. Once you have all that, stitch it together with an editing program. Something cheap will suffice, I suppose, but a paid-for editing program like Sony Vegas or Adobe Premiere Pro, my personal choice, will produce much better results. The biggest thing to remember is don't overreach, especially if you have no experience. You can't run before you can walk. Start small, go from there. Good luck. And my favorite Red vs. Blue character is Agent Washington. I think his character arc is the best in the series. Our last questions today come from Simon. Dear Braxton, during your appearance from Final Farewell, you seemed discontent with the name your ship had been given. If it were up to you, what would you have named the ship instead? Dear Chronicler 177, now this here's a landmine question. Everybody brace yourselves. You've made it pretty clear how you feel about the upcoming Infinite and a previous fan mail. Have your opinions improved at all in the light of the positively received multiplayer?
Well, I won't lie. The name Flying Forward eventually grew on me. I came to see it as a symbol of advancement through adversity. Keep moving forward no matter what. But if I'd had the choice when I was first assigned her, I might have chosen the name Gray Skies. It sounds dubious at first, but I think it would be understood as a tribute to one of the UNSC's best commanders, and my personal hero. So, Chronicler, I heard about what happened last time someone asked about Infinite. Do I need to be worried?
You know what? I'm too tired to be mad anymore. Been watching the games industry decline steadily for the past 10 years. Watching them get filled to the brim with greedy, overpriced microtransactions, loot boxes, now it's battle passes to turn the game into a daily chore. Free-to-play is used as an excuse to publish unfinished products, even more dependent on microtransactions. Mismanagement is rampant, and devs are overworked, underpaid, and forced to crunch. No matter how much a game is crunched or delayed, it isn't finished when it comes out. In fact, publishing unfinished games is the norm now for franchises I love, and pretty much every other major studio, it seems. Calling it a live service with the shallow promise of, we'll add it maybe and fix it later, maybe. And Infinite is looking like it's going to follow all of these trends. The multiplayer gameplay looked really good, definitely, but they immediately followed that up with the announcement of no co-op or Forge at launch, and we have to wait 6 months from release for Forge. Minimum. Like, it could be delayed even further, we don't know. That's really gonna hurt player numbers. It did with Halo 5. And then we have to consider why the game won't be finished at launch. Everything we know about Infinite's development points to heavy mismanagement. The Battle Pass ensures the game will be a chore, there's no playable elites, and y'all know how I feel about armor coatings. The mismanagement of the development is basically screaming that the game is going to be fairly broken or at least lackluster at launch. It's shaping up to be a disaster, and there's not a damn thing I can do about it.
Surely there's something positive to look forward to. If not Halo, then maybe another game?
Fallout 76 is stagnant and mishandled. Elite Dangerous Odyssey was such an apocalypse that they discontinued the console release, and now I'm not excited for Infinite. I'm not excited to play Infinite. I'm not excited about making Machinima in Infinite. You know what? I'm gonna go. I need to lie down or something.
Chronicler? Hey, Coley Head. Well then, I'm sure he'll be okay. He just gets down sometimes. I guess it's up to me to wrap this episode up. So, oh, there's a script on the prompter. Thanks for coming to Fan Mail, and remember, if you want to body act for Hyborian... Hyborian? What's Hyborian? Oh, probably sequel. The one I'm not in. If you want to body act for Hyborian, message me, Chronicler, on the Discord, and he'll see you next time. Is that it? Did I do it right? I think I'm a much better ship commander than a show host. Well, I didn't think it would end the way it did, but it's not so bad. We all have to make that journey sometime. Just as my vision faded to black, the pain disappeared, and everything became still. And then I saw it. A sea like glass with hills of green and a vast sky. And in front of me, the Spartans, giving a salute as their commander said, "You did well, soldier. Rest now."